So without any further ado, let me start off by presenting some slides for you, and then my good colleague, Mr. Olli Suominen from Beijing, he will be presenting as well. But let me start by sharing my presentation in a bit. Just one moment. This should very soon appear to you, right? Thank you very much. Just confirming that you should be able to now see the slides. Am I right? And towards the end of my presentation, I also wish that Mr. Olli Suominen from Beijing will be joining. All right, but to get things started, we bid you welcome to this journey on looking into studying Finland. Finland might be familiar to you, might not be. So excuse me for maybe going in to the very basics of what Finland is and what could be there in store for you if you ever consider to apply for Finland, for instance. One important thing I forgot to mention: we will be recording this webinar, and I will be commencing the recording. Oh, it's already on. Good. Good. So going into the actual fact at hand, Finland is a country somewhere rather northern parts of Europe, hugged between the Scandinavian countries, next to neighboring with Sweden, for instance. We are a rather small country in terms of population, but in terms of European scale, we are actually one of the biggest countries in Europe, not by population, however. And then something about Finland. A leader in education, something that probably describes Finland very well, and that's why we hope that you are able to get something meaningful out of this presentation too. Green, innovative, and a technology powerhouse. Those could be adjectives easily to describe Finland. And safe and well-functioning society, that goes along across the board for many of the Nordic countries, and Finland for sure is no different from that. We have been an European Union member state ever since 1995, so we are approaching a historical 30 years anniversary next year, and that's going to be a big celebratory year for us. What could describe the Finnish mentality or the Finnish maybe national attributes? Well, happiness for one. We are known to be, for the 7th time in a row or 7th year running, the happiest country in the world, and we are an adventurous and a safe Nordic country with top of the list higher education system. We truly value education for a better life and brighter future for everyone. And maybe the Finnish happiness is not that we smile all the time. Maybe it's some sort of some sense of inner peace, I would argue. Something else to go along with the Finnish mindset is that we are nature loving. We are ready. Ready to go outdoors every day, and we like to take our time and just calm ourselves down and in the outdoors. We have flexible study options too, and it goes along together with the great study and work balance, and life balance. Why not even work-life balance? To maybe do your things in the office and then escape into the wilderness and just recharge and revitalize yourself. Finland has roughly 600 higher education degree programs fully English taught, and then we hope that you are able to pick the one pick the one that you would be most interested in. And there's even a website called www.studyinfo.fi to help you further in your search. Just for you to know, Study Info would also be the place where you lodge in your application when the time comes. But now that you're here, rest assured, you're not in a hurry you don't have to like now apply or anything. It's that this webinar is not designed for that. In case you are interested, towards the end of the webinar, we will just make you, give you a short brief about like when would you have to be active. It's further down towards the end of this year. If the Finnish higher education institutions are your thing, and if you really want to consider Finland as a higher education destination, you should probably know that we have two kinds of higher education institutions. Doctoral studies are only in the academic universities, and then you would have the universities of applied sciences that provide master and bachelor degrees as well, but you would have to have work experience in between the bachelor and master. They have relevant. They are pretty much the same. Maybe you could, if shortly put, you would maybe consider the universities of applied sciences, which are on the right hand side. You would consider them as colleges, as they would be, for instance, in the American system. Then moving on to maybe one of the last slides that I have, and then I will just have Olli present his bit as well. So Study in Finland probably would be a great place for you to start looking for information. Study Info, then the national online application portal, which includes a lot of detailed information about study programs. Universities, web pages, obviously, they would be a great source of information. And the residence permit information is contained and provided by migri.fi, so the Finnish immigration service. But this pretty much ends my bit, and I hope that Olli, you should be able to open up your camera and join.
Yes, can you hear me? And can you just a second? Can you see me?
Yes, you're coming in perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so good. I think afternoon, early evening, or late evening to everyone. So as Harri already mentioned, we have in Finland 13 universities, 22 universities of applied sciences, and in addition we have governmental research institutes, university hospitals, and of course private sector research and development. As you can see from the map with the dots, most of the institutions mentioned are located in the central or southern parts of Finland. This is of course due to the population distribution of Finland. So most of the population lives below the Arctic Circle. Now, Finland is of course somewhat or is also Harri was already talking about the educational excellence, but Finland is also in terms of research a leading nation. So could you, Harri, return to the next slide? So Finland is on a path towards an ambitious goal of significantly increasing the investments in research and development. And there is a parliamentary consensus of reaching 4% investment level research investment in relation to gross domestic product. And as a result of this, obviously the quality of Finnish research has been increasing steadily. And there is, as you can see from the map, Finland is already in terms of research publication excellence within the leading nations of Europe. Of course, there are still some nations that are ahead of Finland, but we are well above the average and obviously improving the level as well. Of course, could you maybe jump into the next slide? So this, of course, applies also to innovation. Finland is also investing a lot in turning basic research into innovation, and innovation we are actually well above how the Finnish impact in mere scientific publications. So Finns are really good at turning research into innovations. And Finland is, although of course as a small nation we cannot excel at all possible fields, we're very good at a lot of fields. We're leading the we're in a lot of fields we're well above average, but in certain areas especially we are leading the world even. Not to mention, including fields such as quantum computing, for example, or photonics. Then there's certain sort of focal points where Finland is especially trying to focus on. So could you maybe, Harri, turn on the next slide? So there is what we call the flagship program of Finnish research. So it is an active collaboration between research organizations, so universities, individual companies, these governmental research organizations, and businesses and the society at large. And this is where the flagship programs sort of try to further knowledge and know-how and cooperation between these different actors and create solutions to develop new business opportunities and sustainable growth. So the Finnish flagships, which are listed below, I'm not going to go into detail. There's a URL or a web link at the bottom. If you want to find out more, you can also just Google for Finnish flagship program. But the idea is to create effective cutting-edge research in these fields on a long-term plan, and create versatile societal impact to support sustainable growth and development. And it, as mentioned, it is a project that is a collaboration between businesses, industry, and society. Of course, there's lots of resources allocated from the government to support these programs. And as mentioned, Finns are good at turning research into innovation, and of course this is very much a central part of the flagship programs, that research excellence is turned into actual innovations. Yes, and I think that more or less sums it up for Finnish research excellence. I think we have then Harri to lead us on to next part of the presentation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Olli, and nice to hear greetings from Beijing as well. Coming back to Helsinki, and then I believe Tarun Sharma, you would be there to showcase a presentation about an alumni journey. You should be able to open up your mic, and I've even set you as a presenter. So would you be kind to test whether you are able to show your slides?
Hey, can you hear me well now?
Yes, you are audible.
All right,
and
perfect.
welcome.
Maybe thanks a lot. Maybe since you're sharing the slides, maybe we can just use your computer and
Of course. Yeah, let me get those slides for you.
Perfect.
They should be. Oh, it's
all
coming.
Right. Yeah,
it's here. Yeah, is this coming through all right?
Yeah, I can see that. So warm welcome from my side too, everybody. And like Harri said, I'm an alumni in sort of various different ways. Been in Finland for more than 20 years, and I just want to share some perspective. I think obviously you're all either students currently or planning and evaluating your next step. So, maybe I can share some of my perspective, coming from the industry. Just very briefly, I work as a partner and CEO at Nokia Ventures. I'm assuming many of you have heard the company Nokia. Nokia Ventures is the venturing arm. But today I'm, talking to you as sort of a dreamer, believer, and an entrepreneur, because I think the whole life is like an entrepreneurial journey. If we can just quickly move to the next slide, please, Hari. Yeah. So I think, I just want to highlight this. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I really believe in this. And I think I can almost be sure that you all, to some extent, have these dreams and, ambition of what you want to do in life. And this sort of webinar is, the testament that, you've been interested to come and hear us. If you go to the next slide. Yeah. Um, and again, depending upon where you are in your life journey, and this has been how my journey has gone through, mostly from high school all the way to currently. And you will see there are some sort of red spots in this journey, and I think they're just meant to outline the life never sort of goes in a perfect way. There are always ups and downs, but I think if you persevere and keep on moving forward and pursue your dreams, there's a lot you can achieve. Like 91 in high school, I really didn't get good score. I worked hard, finally got distinction in bachelor, but that wasn't even good enough. Had a very average job with no future really. Then the startup I was working on, that got bankrupt because of the tech downturn. Ultimately, I got an opportunity which was purely coincidence to come and help Nokia. That's how I discovered Finland in 2001, and it's been like 23 years. And since then, I've done a bunch of things, and mostly Finland has been my sort of headquarters. And I've really enjoyed it. I worked for companies like IBM, Microsoft. I did my MBA finance and strategy. Hari spoke about a lot of courses in English. And again, they are increasing. Again, if you go to study in Finland, you can get definitely more details about it. Then I've again rejoined Nokia, and throughout I've really sort of enjoyed this journey, and learned a fair bit. Finland as a country, Finland as a society, obviously the education system here, and the opportunities it provides. And I'll give you a quick flavor of this, because as you are navigating your sort of decision tree, it's not just about the education; it's also about the opportunities which a given country provides you. So hopefully, you'll get us a flavor of this. If we go to the next one. Uh, this is briefly just me now. Even though I might have had like only 60% in my high school, but I think I've reasonably done well. And again, I've leveraged the opportunities which were provided. I'm a speaker, mentor, coach, angel investor, board member, entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and a real estate investor as well. If you go to the next one. Again, it may feel like you're ready to take the jump, and the question is, are you ready? No matter what you decide, I think you'll have to ultimately take these kind of jumps throughout your life, whether it's choosing the right country, choosing the right course, being an entrepreneur, or taking your first job. So just don't be afraid. I think just take the jump, and I'll quickly talk more about it. If you go to the next one. um, yeah, so I think I really like this slide, because what it shows is, it shows there are two groups of people, if you like. There's one on the left who always knew what they wanted to do. So like Taylor Swift, started writing songs at the age of 12 years. Serena Williams started training for tennis when she was 3, and Warren Buffett did his first deal when he was 6 years old. It's like, you're born with a mission, a very clear purpose, and you sort of pursue your life right from the very beginning. It may be that you belong to this group and you have a very clear path forward, what you want to do in life, and what do you want to pursue. And if so, great. I think, you'll find the right path to take you. But there are others on the right hand side, and these are the people who started with a journey, but then later on, life had other plans, and they had other ambitions, and I mean, the both groups are quite successful if you look at it. But the way the folks on the left and the way folks on the right have achieved is very different. I mean, J.K. Rowling, she was working in government. She was as a secretary. She wrote her first book, Harry Potter, which was rejected so many times, and finally, she made it. And so is the case with Sheryl Sandberg, who ultimately became CEO of Facebook. She didn't start it as a tech industry veteran, if you like, but that she penetrated through eventually through different hoops and turns. So again, depending upon which group you belong, you may have like a different strategy. But it's okay, and it's also okay if you're not really sure. I mean, this also, the message of this slide is, even if you're not sure right now, that's fine, because there are many examples in the world which weren't really sure when they went on to sort of be on their journey, but they ultimately made it, right? I think it's like what drives you. Even if you're not sure right now, I'm sure it will figure it out as you take the next steps. If you go to the next slide. Um, I think Hari already spoke about it, and so is Ollie. The importance of research. I think here again, this is my assessment of how I have come to realize there's definitely high quality universities which are focused on research and innovation. I think Ollie spoke about it. There is highly qualified and international faculties which are there. There's a lot of emphasis on interdisciplinary learning and collaboration between different fields of study. Unlike in many other places where, if you're, looking at finance and numbers, you're just only focusing on finance. But here it's okay for a finance person to, take courses in design and understand how maybe design choices impact your financial outcome, right? Which we don't appreciate it so much unless you you really start seeing it, you see the results of it. There's obviously very good public funding, for higher education, which ensures the access to education as well as quality. Relatively speaking, for what you get, it's very reasonably priced. I mean, if you look at worldwide, whether it's US, Australia, UK, other places, I think Finland is definitely reasonably priced compared to what you get back. There's close collaboration with industry. I've been sponsoring Aalto's, SEMS program and projects for more than 10 years. I'm a guest lecturer as well. And I know, the projects which we bring, they're not theoretical projects. These are like really, critical projects which often, have a strategic element as all managerial or management level, focus. And again, like mentioned, there's a lot of emphasis on, practical hands-on learning, and also internship. I mean, you do get internships here, they tend to be high quality. They're not like the projects which we don't care about. We definitely care about. If you go to the next slide, please. I think this. So studying is one aspect, right? But I mean, studying doesn't happen in isolation. You're living in a country where you're studying. How do you feel on an everyday basis? The opportunities which you have. And I think this slide, tries to highlight some of the things. You will realize there's a lot of emphasis on innovation, creativity, and learning overall as a society. I mean, look at the public libraries. Just fantastic. There's a new one which has opened in Helsinki maybe a few years ago. I don't know what's the worldwide rating of it, but it's definitely like one of the top class libraries I've been to. There's a lot of emphasis on team-oriented and collaborative work environment, which is very visible in projects in everywhere. Um, Organizationally, it's a flat organization. You can go and question the CEO, why is this strategy, or I don't agree with the strategy, and that's totally fine. And again, in many cultures, that's not acceptable. But in Finland, you do have a voice, and it does get heard. Whether they change the strategy or not is a different question, because that depends upon your sort of analysis and judgment. But the fact that you can actually raise that concern is okay. It's acceptable, which actually feels very good that you've been heard. There's equality, fairness related to that, open communication, like I said. Again, Nordics are known for work-life balance. It's phenomenal. I think a lot has been written about it. I was even media interviewed on this particular topic for 10 minutes about work-life balance and broadly the opportunities which Finland provides. Flexible work arrangements, it's totally fine. If your spouse or your, children need time and attention, you can agree with your manager that you'll be away for 2 hours, but come back and work in the evening. I mean, again, depending upon the role, it's not unheard of, right? You have high standard of living, which is again given. Again, Nordic countries are known for it, as well as strong support system. And let's not forget close to nature, right? In many countries, cities, we are losing nature. We are losing that privilege of close to nature. But here in Helsinki or Espoo and more or other universities as well, I think nature is always there. Which again, if you're a nature loving person, which is great. If you go to the next one. I do want to spend some time because this is like really my expertise. This is what I do from a venturing standpoint. I do want to give you some sort of a flavor. I think the entrepreneurs among you, or the founders and those who want to go in that direction, I think Finland will sound very exciting as a proposition post your studies or during your studies. And again, I think Ollie also a little bit spoke about it, and maybe there's a talk as well after mine, I think, from Business Finland, and maybe you'll get a little additional favor. But I'll share my perspective from the industry. There are more than 2,000 startups. Altogether, the enterprise value is about 30 billion. More than 3,000 investments done in last decade. There are more than 1,000 investors which are operating in the region. It's again, there's a lot of activity happening, and you may or may not have heard of a very big event called Slush, which is again for how they operate, and it's student led. It's probably the biggest event now in the world, completely operated by volunteers and students. It's a non-profit. If you haven't checked out, I encourage you to check out Slush. It's SLUSH, and it's phenomenal. All done by students, right? You get access to VCs in Silicon Valley, VCs from London, Germany, some of the big names, which probably will be so hard to get access to, but you do get through these platforms like Slush. If you go to the next one, please. Next slide. Yeah. And this is, and again, because we don't know what your background is, but, again, assuming you are reasonably sort of interested in where is the money going in terms of startup investments, you have deep tech, you have impact investment, food, health, security, and the two graphs compare between Helsinki and Europe. What is the difference? Where the money is going in Europe, where the money is going in Helsinki, which is broadly, Finland. Then within that segment, what are the top segments which are going in Finland? So electric mobility, green buildings, and again, quantum was spoken about. There's a company called IQM, which is a unicorn company, again coming originally from Aalto University. So again, this just gives you a flavor. But if you look at the topics, these are very progressive topics. These are very progressive topics which are making an impact, whether it's, space tech, whether it is climate tech, whether it is, blue economy, which is more around ocean and algae removal. There's a company here. And again, this is just a 10-minute talk. You won't be able, or 15-minute, you won't be able to really be able to absorb everything. But hopefully this gives you some flavor of how, as a society, where is the money going in terms of new innovation. If you go to the next one, please. Here are very briefly how I think we missed one slide. If we go one back. Yeah, this one. I just want to highlight there are, these are already all the unicorns which have come from Finland, right? So unicorn is any company which has at least $1 billion in valuation. And again, some have started the unicorn revolution in Europe, like MySQL, which was way back, and some are more recent. But again, it gives you sort of on a per capita basis, if you look at the unicorn and investment, I think Finland is doing quite well on a per capita, right? Again, it's hardly a 5 million, plus minus population, and to come up with so many unicorns is not a small thing. If you go now to the next one. Again, broadly speaking, I'm not going to spend too much of time, but I'm just going to give you a very quick flavor of, where from a venture standpoint, new opportunities, new research, because some of you may want to study in these discipline or strongly believe about some of this. So I'll just give you a quick snapshot. If we quickly go to the next one now, slide. So, there is a lot happening on this slide, as well as what it tries to tell you is there are lots of venture opportunities. There's a lot of venture capital which is going around in these all areas. And again, you may or may not have an ambition to do something, study in this direction and build a career in this direction, right? And that's really the purpose of showing this. There's a lot happening around, cyber. Obviously, unfortunately, there are a lot of wars going on. So there is a lot of defense tech. There is a lot of defense tech happening. As a result, there are cyber attacks, both prevention and aggressive attacks. There's a lot of work happening there. There's a lot of companies been built. Logistics and energy grid security. Again, there's a lot of innovation happening to ensure that despite all of these challenging times, our security of logistics, which is supply chain and energy, is there. And again, these are like global macro issues. Maybe you connect with some of these macro issues and you want to study further and then build a company around it. I don't know. But again, food for thought. Then, or you could be more, looking at hunger or water security or, sustainability and climate tech and or climate change. Again, there's a lot of work happening, a lot of innovation happening. Or some of you may even, aspire to do a PhD in some of these topics, right? So I think that's another consideration. And again, Hari and Study in Finland team can definitely answer very specific questions in terms of bachelor's, master's, or PhD opportunities. But again, from industry, we see growing trend here. You have financial inequality, access to education. There's a lot of ed tech companies, fintech companies operating. So is on the health and as well as pandemic, right? If we go quickly to the next one.
Of course, I will. Just as a reminder, we will have Tarun towards the end in the Q&A as well, and we are slightly behind schedule, so if we can just briefly pick up.
Perfect.
Please. Thank you.
These are all the tech innovations happening. I won't go into the details. I'm sure you're keeping a pulse of this. If we go to the next one, we'll skip this through. There's a lot of industry innovation happening. I guess, ultimately, this is sort of my, sort of closing slides. I think, there will always be fear and regret, right? There's always, you're afraid whenever you're making a big, bold step of, going abroad for education or even for job. The only thing I'll say is, if you ask many people who are in their sort of these golden years and ask, what would you do differently if you went back? And if you have the opportunity to advise a younger generation, by far the single biggest thing comes is regret. People say, I wish I had done what I could have done. So my only sort of piece of advice is whatever decision you take, be very thoughtful and don't regret it later. That only if I had the opportunity, I would have taken it, right? That's it. I think maybe we'll just show last slide. And that's what, sort of Mark Zuckerberg said, the biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world which is changing quite quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking any risk, right? So just keep that in mind. And with that, thank you very much. The rest of the questions we'll answer in Q&A.
Thank you very much, Tarun. You have such a vast pool of experience that I can't. Well, obviously you could speak for a very long time, but unfortunately we have to rush on.
Sure.
We're glad to have you towards the end of the Q&A. But now we would have the student presentation. Please, Lynn, are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Good. I believe you are able to share your screen as well.
Yes, I will try now to share my screen. Hopefully you get to see it. Yep, you see it now?
Perfect.
Yes, pretty big. So since we don't have so much time, I'm gonna go through my presentation pretty quick because anyway, we're gonna have this Q&A later that you can ask me more questions. So hello everyone, my name is Lin, or in Vietnamese you say Linh, yeah? And I'm a master student, actually last year student already in Hanken School of Economics. It is one of the best business school in Finland. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk a bit about why I chose Finland as a higher education destination, the reason as the journey as an international student, how is the living in Finland, studying in the Finnish universities, the experiences, why Finland is a great destination for Asian students, up to my opportunity, and some practical tips for future students. So the reason why I chose Finland as a destination is because of the high quality education here, the globally recognized degrees. With the degree that I am achieving now from Hanken School of Economics, I can actually easily get a job in Sweden, Norway, for example, are supportive, and also here they have this very supportive and inclusive academic environment. You can always come to the staff in the university asking for any help. You can easily go to your professor office, send them email, send them message to ask about the study and everything without feeling any fear. And they are super open to have you with your study. And on the opportunities for international networking, here I met so many friends from many other countries. And also I have the opportunity to go study exchange in China, did my internship in Germany. And actually, at the moment, I'm in Italy having a trip with my university friends here. And also here in Finland, we have this unique work-life balance, which is amazing. That I'm busy with the study, but still I have time for, like, to take care of myself, doing sports, and all of those things are like being supported by the society. Like if you go to school, nobody gonna tell you that, oh, hey, you have to like study very hard. You have to stay up the whole night to do like your assignment or to study. Here, the professor, the university staff would always tell you that, okay, you gotta study hard, but also remember to take care of yourself, get enough sleep, do fun things, because it will help you to get the energy to study better. And also here, the education is very innovative as well. When you go to school, you have all kind of equipments. You have like, and the professors always provide you like the latest knowledge and technique for you to study. And what I love here, like in Finland, is that the sustainability and value, and also the clean environment focus on the pictures, on the photos that you see here are my own photos, and it is all taken during my study here in Finland. Yes, and the journey as an international student. So this is my 10th year living in Finland. I moved to Finland in 2014, applying to the hospitality management program in my bachelor. And at that time, I chose that university because it's one of the best in the hospitality management field. And then after graduation, I continue working in Finland. I found a job and continue working in Finland for several years. And then 2 years ago, I got back to the study because I want to like learn more about marketing and communication. So I applied to Hanken to study master degree. And about the application process, it's very straightforward. It's very easy. You just have to follow the instruction that the universities provide, and then you get there. So what I recommend to the students whoever plan to apply to Finnish universities, you have those websites, you have the resources, studyinfinland.fi, studyinfo.fi, and also the official website of your university that you're going to apply to. Just stick with that, read the instruction carefully, and follow the steps, and it will be fine. Some first impression about studying in Finland. The culture here is quite different from what I experienced in Vietnam. So it's very exciting for me to explore. And the climate is also totally different. I have never seen snow actually, like until I moved to Finland. So that's some amazing experience for me. The languages, I first thought that it could be like a kind of issue, because in Finland the two official language is Finnish and Swedish. But actually, when I moved here, everybody spoke so well English. Like when you go to grocery, when you go anywhere, everyone can speak to you in English. So if your English skills are like you're confident with that, you have no problem living in Finland. Yes, so more about the living in student, like here there's a great support system for student housing. And so this is one thing that you don't have to worry about as well. If you are accepted to the school, you will be like right away send information by the university, give you instruction how you can apply for student housing and stuff, and the price, the cost is a lot lower than what you have to pay in the private market. Great public transportation is here. The public transportation is amazing. I live in Helsinki for 10 years and I have never thought about buying a car, because here I can just go anywhere with public transportation. And this is a super safe country, super safe. Like I literally the safest country I have ever been. Even if you walk alone on the street, maybe in the middle of the night, it's still totally fine. There won't be any problem. Yes, and also what I like it here is that the chance to integrate with the local culture and community. Here I met my good Finnish friends. I enjoy the community here, do activity here with the local people, and those are amazing experience for an international student. Yes, and how is it studying in Finnish university? So like for most of the students who are from Asia, we are so used to this kind of study style that the lecturer or the professor keep talking and then you're just sitting there quietly listening. It's not how we do it in Finland. Here in Finland, the student or the center, the professors or the lecturers, they will not just like provide the knowledge to you, but they will give you on the resources to like deep dive into the knowledge yourself and to learn it yourself. So it's so important in Finland that you have the strong, like for study, that you have strong self discipline and you have the critical thinking skill. So and then here in the class you will get to do a lot of projects. Like for my master study right now, I get to do projects with all the big companies, and one of those are the companies that Tarun has mentioned before. And also we have to work as a group, and this is so important skill, because once you graduate and you start working, you realize that those skills are like essential. And like I mentioned before about the support service for international here, you will never be alone here, because there will always be the staff in the university supporting you. There will also many kind of like community kind of association here to support you, providing you like language courses, mentorship. I have gone through all of this, and those are amazing experience. And yes, of course, like the opportunities for internship and networking as well. I can mention that I get to do my internship in Germany, and then from the study, I get to network with many students from many other countries as well. And campus culture and student organizations are also something very cool here. They organize many activities for students. So this have you a lot like to gain your soft skill. For example, I have learned how to use Photoshop by just like joining the student organization and stuff like that, because my university is a research university, so we don't have that kind of like course that they will teach you something like doing Photoshop, but I get to learn it through like joining student organizations and doing activity with them.
Thank you very
And
much, Lynn.
yeah,
Just as a kind reminder, we are short on time. We have Katri's presentation still coming up. Maybe the last things that you wanted to mention.
yes. I think I'm already in the end of my slides already. So why this is already the last slide. So why I think Finland is a great destination for Asian students is because here is super diverse and also very inclusive in the campus. You don't feel that you're outsider or you're different. And here there are many scholarship and financial aid opportunities for students as well. So you definitely should try, because I have those friends from Asia who applied to the universities here, got the scholarship here, and it helps them a lot. Yes, and yes. So also, of course, the ease of integrating with the local and international communities, the post-study work opportunities and student jobs, like what I am doing now, working part-time for study in Finland, for example, is one of the work opportunity that I got while studying in Finland. So yes, thank you. That is my slide. And yes, maybe I have one more slide, but maybe we can, talk about that later in Q&A. And thank you. And please, if you have question, connect me with me on studyinfinland.fi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Very, very appreciated. Very much appreciated. Yes. Without any further ado, let me welcome Katri here to talk about Business Finland and working in Finland. Please, Katri. If we could get a summarized version of your presentation.
Yes, I'll try to be quick. So should I share or from
yes,
here?
Yes, please do. Yeah,
do
are
that.
you able to?
I wasn't sure because you were sharing for some, but that's okay.
You
so
should be
here
able
we go.
to.
Yes. Oops. And now it's full screen. Great. Okay, well, first of all, I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for previous speakers for very interesting presentations and all the visitors online, of course. My name is Katri Raivori, and I work in the Work in Finland, Business Finland, Work in Finland unit. So our job is to match the companies and the talents, international talents in Finland and abroad. Okay. So first of all, what's unique in our working culture is that we really truly have a work-life balance. We have a culture that we know that happy and well-rested employees are actually a better asset to the company than working just 24 hours a day. And we also, to support that, we also have long holidays. Usually during the summer, we stay off for like 4 weeks solid. And we're really like off because summer is a great time in Finland anyway. Yeah, I'll just try to be quick. And also Finland is known for opportunities to develop skills at work and its innovation. Innovation, there's a couple of things why we're so innovative. We have a very vibrant startup scene and a rapidly growing tech sector. You would say that we're quite a techie country. And also flat hierarchies is one at work that really gives room for innovations, because you can just go to your boss and throw ideas and in a flow. There's no barriers really there. So all kinds of ideas are okay. And also Finland has the best opportunities to develop skills at work. So you can really grow in your professionality at work. And yes, our top fields are definitely ICT, as mentioned before, that we're quite tech country. Clean tech, marine technology, those are one to mention, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper here. So here we have the tech sector, which is definitely the biggest and most talents needed in that sector, because we do have an aging population. So that creates a lot of opportunities for international talents that want to stay in Finland. So just some figures, not like huge, but by our population, they are actually quite big. And also health and life sciences is one big growing sector and very international as well. And here's some numbers that we have considering that sector, which is really international and has a lot of international talents. Health tech is a pretty cool industry in Finland, and it has really nice small and medium companies that work well together in one nice ecosystem. And just this is really a packed slide, but here's just some of the companies that we have in the battery value chain: green hydrogen and green transformation. As I mentioned on my previous slide, sustainability is one of the key assets in Finland. We take it really seriously, and there's a lot of, like, of course, tech and sustainability are very much linked. So there are really great green technology in Finland. And then maritime, there's a few places in Finland where they build these big ships, and smaller as well. But this is an important sector for us as well, and offer many positions, also like engineering, and then just blue collar positions, like all levels, because it's a huge project always when you're, for example, building a big ship, and creates jobs for many years. And gaming is one of our industry as well, and that must be, I would say, the most international industry in Finland, and is growing rapidly. And you might know that like Angry Birds and Supercell are originated from Finland. Okay, and then this is our site where you can find work, because we would, of course, love all the students that study in Finland. We would love to keep you in Finland, and help you in finding a good work after your studies. So Work in Finland is a site. It's like a one-stop shop. There's a lot of information and links, but also open positions that do not require Finnish language. So all of the jobs advertised there are in English, or English is required, no Finnish. And also one possibility, somebody already talked about startups in Finland, and I also mentioned that the startup environment is very thriving and I would say cool. And ours is one of the fastest growing scenes in the world. So also you might consider starting your startup after your studies. And then if you think about working while studying, there's some limitations, but you are okay. You can do 30 hours per week and still stay in your study permit. And it can be more. For example, in the summer, you can work full time, and then a little bit less when you concentrate more on your studies. You just have to make sure that the average for the year is 30 hours per month. And then there's some exemptions, like if you're doing an internship or diploma work that has been agreed while making the agreement, and that you earn credits from, then that doesn't count. That counts as studying. So that's also good to note. And then we have some channels if you want to follow. We have LinkedIn, Finland Works channel, where we have events for students and talents, and all kinds of useful information you may want to read. So please follow our channel. And that's it. Harri, I tried to rush this, so I hope I didn't take too much time.
Thank you. That was really, really concise. And that's probably because you are a communications professional. So thank you very much for a very informative session. And thank you also for the question. We have now opened the chat pane, and we already have some questions. Now, there's one question that I'd like to pick up from a study counselor from Bangalore. The question goes, how does Finland and the Finnish education system support international students securing job opportunities after graduation? Tarun, are you there? Maybe do you have, we have as the state's officials, we have certain answers, but I believe you also have some contact points to maybe getting students that are on the verge of graduation. How does it go in your case?
Yeah, sure. Can you still hear me well?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. No, I think that's a good question. And I think Katri from Business Finland spoke about some of the initiatives Business Finland is doing in terms of creating opportunities. I believe there is an active database of jobs which are currently open. I know there are lots of events which Business Finland organizes, and again, Katri and the team. These are all the opportunities. So I think, look, I think, I mean, there is in journal, there are, and again, I think you have to really be visible and be active in terms of securing opportunities, right? Whether these are big corporates, and again, we do projects, we do all sorts of projects and internship for that reason because we also need talent. So is startups, so are SMEs. I think it's a mixed bag. There is a lot of support provided from the school and the counselors and agencies and government institutions such as Business Finland. There are then events like Slush and others, startup events. So I think you just have to be very active and be willing to be on top of the trend and what is needed, right? Um, by and large, I think, look, there are no guarantees per se in life. Like nothing is guaranteed, right? Even if you go to US, there's no guarantee. You just need to work hard. But it does provide few opportunities. I think if you're in the growing sectors, and again, some of the startups like we mentioned, and some of the areas we mentioned, this, and even Katri also showed about, the demand patterns. There are certain areas where there is far more demand than what is available. So it's a function of what have you studied, what's your aspiration, how proactive you are, can you do the outreach to companies and other events and be active. And again, English is reasonably accepted language. There are certain roles where you absolutely need Finnish. So I think that's just my overall sort of background. I don't know if Katri, you want to add something from Business Finland, Work in Finland perspective, or you, Hari, on this point.
Well, I'll have Katri's comments first, and then I'll be able to provide some statistical insights, which is always boring, but maybe necessary.
Thank you, Tarun. That was really a good summary, I think. And yes, we do a lot of work towards students getting a job in Finland and also our stakeholders. Like I just went to Aalto Thesis Fair, for example, which was directly for international students that are in Finland. So, and there were the companies that were hiring or looking for people for junior positions and internships. And we also have a lot of events and a lot of things going on. We really try to get them to match the companies and the talents. And also the Work in Finland side also has all kinds of work available that's in English language. So, but I think Tarun, you said it all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with the student's readiness permit, you are allowed to work part-time. So the studies have to be full-time, and then you can also work alongside your studies. What we have discovered is that roughly 55% of those who have started their studies in Finland, they are in Finland employed after a 5 years period. We like to think that in an international comparison, Finland is doing really well in terms of retention and bringing people to employment after graduation in higher education. We see examples, many other Western countries who might be actively recruiting students. They might not be able to reach such figures. One explanatory figure might be that, or the explaining thing might be that most of the higher education degrees, they include a mandatory internship. And the usual places where people get employed after graduation it's either the place where they did the internship or the place where they delivered their final thesis. Those are the two most probable choices of you landing your first job. But this obviously, as Taro mentioned, there are no guarantees. So let's bear that in mind. There was also a question. We are already at 3 o'clock, so officially we are in. But since we ran out a bit, we stretched the schedule. I'm hoping that we could go on for a 10-minute overtime period, if that's all right. So we'll be finishing off in 10 minutes. I hope this is okay, but I also understand if people have to leave. But there was a question about nursing studies that I saw in the chat. There were several of them. people asking for nursing, what do they cost? Just in general, the costs are explained, as well as the scholarships. They are explained on our website. It's really hard to tell what they cost, but we are currently moving somewhere in the landmarks of some thousands of euros per year, up until maybe 15,000 euros per year, academic year, in tuition fees. And that is not, I say again, that is not inclusive of the scholarship. And then, so you are always asking, people are always asking about fees and scholarship. The scholarships are institution specific. Unfortunately, Finland does not have a nationwide scholarship policy that could be utilized in every case. But the institutions themselves, they are free to give scholarships according to what they see is necessary. So really hard to say. There are several institutions that provide nursing studies in Finland, but I invite you to look into the institution websites. And those would be the universities of applied sciences that you would be then looking for the Bachelor of Nursing Studies. Also, there's the nursing question. There was a question about application periods as well. Samuli already kindly answered that question. And just to reiterate to everyone, we will have an applicant webinar coming up in December, and we will be sure to email that information to you, since you were registered here. So we'll be sure to invite you there as well, in case you are interested in hearing how to apply. But this will happen in December, so you are safe to still do your exploration in terms of your suitable study option for the next couple of months, and you could we hope that you make the best use of this time. Maybe as one question to Lynn, our excellent student example, if you're still there,
Yes.
could you name me one thing that you like to do on your free time in Finland that maybe you're not able to do in your home country?
Yes, definitely. So that's one thing actually is my biggest passion is to have a walk in the forest in the summertime or even in the autumn time to pick up berries or to pick up mushroom. And those are my really like a very big passion that I try to do it quickly. And of course, I can't really do it in Vietnam where I'm from. I'm from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, and it's such a and I was like urban girl for my whole life until I moved to Finland, and I get exposed to the nature in Finland, and it's amazing. It really like improved my well-being. It's really changed my mind about how a happy life is defined. Yes, and so I really hope that some other Asian students here also get to experience that one day as well, because really hard to describe, but it's such a like amazing feeling that just going for a walk in the forest and enjoying the nature and all the resources that you can have there.
All right, thank you very much. We obviously we're very happy to have a healthy body of international students, out of which Lynn is a great example. Also, an ambassador for the Finnish higher education studies, and you will be able to find Lynn and other ambassadors on the Study in Finland website. So we welcome you to tap into the www.studyinfinland.fi to find further information about our ambassadors. But we hope that this webinar was useful, and please do sure be checked to check out our info and advice at Study in Finland and chat with us there. And obviously, we also welcome you to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube. You are able to then make maybe get better acquainted into the everyday aspects of the Finnish life. Also, for the sake of our panelists here, Tarun, any closing words on your behalf?
No, thank you for listening. Thanks for this opportunity. I think it's summarized well by all the panelists. I think Finland does have, sort of unique in many ways, which may be very hard to find or replicate. So just make a good choice. Just don't make the choice based on what the crowds do. Do your homework, do your research. Hopefully this webinar helps you and inspires you to ask some of the questions which you should ask before you make the final decision. And that's it. And I think innovation, research, startups, if that's your passion, I think you should seriously consider Finland. And if there are very specific questions around startup or innovation, I'm happy to answer through LinkedIn. Feel free to connect. And I'm sure other panelists can address their specific part as well equally. That's all from my side, Hari.
Thank you very much, Taron. And as for Taron's LinkedIn contacts, obviously you can find him by name, but also Taron in his presentation there was a QR code. We will be sharing all this material on the campaign site. So you are able to even get Taron's LinkedIn QR code from there if you and all the materials that we shared today, you are able to get back to them as well. But without with no other questions in mind, and since we are already 7 minutes over time, we wish you a very pleasant evening wherever you are. In Finland, we are just a bit over 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we still get to work a bit and then probably proceed home. But on our behalf, this surely has been a pleasure. And we look forward to meeting you again in the applicant webinar, or if not there, then we can maybe meet in the streets of Finland after you have been accepted as a student. But on our behalf, thank you very much. Safe travels, everyone, and be happy. Right. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.